Okay, welcome everybody. I want to welcome you to our podcast where we're really talking about topics that we see our offices or our clients struggle. Anytime somebody's struggling with a topic, we'd like to turn that into a learning tool or a learning experience. So I know lately we've been talking a lot about energy levels in clinics. Docs have been talking to Greg, Stephen, and I about feeling a little bit wiped out, maybe a little bit energy drained by the end of the day, feeling a little tired, fatigued, and tired. All those new patients coming in from the ads is causing a little bit of work and a little bit extra on the doc's plate. So I wanted to cover energy levels today and stress levels on a topic that I call monotasking. Stephen, I'm sure you've heard of the term multitasking, right?
Yes, yeah.
People will say often, I'm a great multitasker. When you interview people, I'm a great multitasker. And recently, in the last 2, 3 years, I've totally changed my mindset on multitasking. And what I've read is there actually is no such thing as being able to multitask. The human brain is, I think, incapable of it. It can only focus on one things, and we'll get into it a little bit down the road of why that is and what and how it works. But so multitasking is actually impossible to do from a brain or human anatomy point of view. So therefore, all we're left is doing one thing and doing one. The topic today I want to cover is monotasking, doing one thing and doing it well. And this can apply to anyone that's listening to this, can apply to docs, it can apply to staff, it can apply to assistants, it can apply to any business owner that wants to improve their productivity without sacrificing energy levels. We shouldn't be coming home for the end of the day feeling wiped, tired, and fatigued, and going again Tuesday, and going again, and then taking the whole weekend to recover, right? We talked to docs, Stephen, where they're spending the whole weekend recovering with their energy levels. And so I'm happy everyone's getting busier with all these ads, but we want to have those docs leaving their office Friday morning and doing the things they love to do on Saturday and Sunday, right? It's why we all get to the office. I know you've been reading a little bit about just happened this happened by accident when I brought up this topic, and Stephen's this is cool because I've been reading a lot about multitasking, and I think it's impossible. You were saying something just before we hopped on this call, how it takes how long to switch from one task to the other? Stephen, was it 20?
Yeah. Yeah, so roughly it's 23 minutes. So let's say you're in the groove doing something and then you get stopped or something else comes up and you go to switch something. It takes you
Yeah.
23 minutes to get back on track where you were.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what I also read was it takes energy. So to hop back from one topic to another, the brain has to use new neural connections and pathways, and the brain uses glucose up to do that when it switches back and forth. So it actually, for real, physiologically drains your energy stores. So I want to start off by eliminating the word multitasking, and there's a few ways we can do that in the office. So, I've said this from day one, and I've harped this is the blocking cluster booking for the chiropractors listening to this and staff is extremely important because it's built around not multitasking. Okay, so block and cluster, for those of you who don't know that, there's previous videos already built on that, but block booking is schedule and deciding to see treatments in a certain period of time without seeing new patients. Okay, why? Because you're in treatment mode, and let's say you break up a morning, 8 till 9:30, people want to get in and out quickly. You block that time off to focus solely on treatments. You're not answering calls, you're not taking new patients, you're not doing paperwork, you're just in the zone of seeing those patients. And then the next block of time, let's call it 9:30 to 11, you then can switch your brain. Now it takes 23 minutes apparently to switch over, but you switch over your brain and now you see your new patients or your longer visits for the next hour so that you can be good at your treatments, and then 20 minutes later you can be really focused and good on your new patients or any longer visits, and then you can switch back to finish your morning. So that's one of the most effective ways to stop the multitasking, okay, is to block and cluster your day. And that actually goes for your staff as well. I know you talk to a lot of staff, Stephen, and staff
Mhm.
will report going, it's crazy, we're busy, and those terms crazy. I don't like those terms. But the staff will also get a break because they'll have quick treatments and they won't have anything else to do except process all these patients. And then when the long visit starts or the new patient starts, for an hour, they'll have time to take a breather and then to switch their tasks to maybe answering some of the emails or texts that they haven't been able to do. So the blocking cluster book is really important. Again, if you guys haven't fully understand what that is, you can go back to some of the videos we have recorded or reach out to us and we can explain that a little bit more. The other thing is, I think everyone should do this, is create a do, delegate, or dump list. I don't know if you've ever heard of this activity before.
Yeah, no, I like it. Yeah, I'm actually reading a book currently. I don't know, it's called Buy Back Your Time, but it's essentially that's what it is. You
Yeah.
make a list like that. Yeah.
I get my clients twice a year, usually right off of January, and then midway is to do a do, delegate, or dump list. Basically, write everything that you do down. Docs, you're listening to this, you're going to write every single thing you do down. And you got to be honest with yourself, because if you're not honest with yourself, this exercise won't work. So I picked up my phone and I searched social media. I texted this, I ordered pizza. I did that. Like, you write every single thing you do down. I see patients, I adjust patients, I answer email. You write them all down, long list of things. And then I want you to think about, what are the 3 to 4 things that only you can do, nobody else can do. And if you listen to this, I actually want you to book a time in your schedule to do this. It's extremely effective. What are the 3 or 4 things that only you can do and nobody else in your clinic? Now, some of you will go, wow, I'm the best at this and I'm the best at creating that. And I don't mean you're the best at, is what only that you can do, right? Because anything can be taught or delegated. But let's say adjusting patients, examining patients, those are 2 things that unfortunately staff cannot do. So I want you to pick 2 or 3 things that you just have to do and highlight them. Okay. Then you look at the rest of the list and you're going to do one of 2 things. You're going to choose, for the rest of the things, you're going to delegate them or you're going to get rid of it altogether. If it's something like paying bills, I don't know, ordering the family dinner, you can delegate those things. Or maybe it's something that it is picking up your phone and checking social media. Or maybe you're doing something that you just don't need to do. I know in some offices, they do a lot of pre-education before a patient sits down and sees the doc, right? Maybe that's something you can dump. You don't have to show a patient a video or give them pamphlets and teach them. Maybe that's just something you can dump altogether. So once you're done that exercise, you have the 3 or 4 things that you must do. There might be 10 or 15 things that you look at yourself and you go, huh, I might be able to delegate those things, right? Maybe someone else can run to the bank and make the deposits. Maybe someone else can do payroll. Maybe somebody else can do whatever, medical notes, right? And then you get a dump list. And I love the dump list. This is my favorite. You just start crossing stuff off your day, right? And that's one of the biggest ways you can stop multitasking and start monotasking, because you really focus your day around those 3 or 4 things that only you can do. I do this twice a year, and literally it's freeing up your time so that you can go and do what you need to do. Does that make sense, Stephen?
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I'd also add to that, when you're making that list, to like, you're not looking for things that somebody else could do 100% as good as you. It's even if they bring it to 80%, from how you do it, that's really good, compared to 100% of your time while
Yeah.
you could be focusing
Yeah.
on other important things.
Even think associates, right? I know some docs are a little leery of getting associates because, well, they're not going to be able to do it like I can do it. And that might be true, it might be not true. Be careful of what narratives we tell ourselves, for false limiting beliefs. But so what if it's true? If it's they're going to be 70 or 80% at your capacity, that's okay. And also, what do you need to do to set up that they're as high percentage as possible, right? What can you do to turn around and help that person to bring that level up? So again, if they start to delegate, or if they start to take things off of your plate, what higher level things can you do in order to make your business run at another level, right? So my do list always changes. 10 years ago, it was examine and adjust patients. Now my do list is changing. As I pull back from practice, now it's higher level thinking, strategic planning, strategic alliances, those type of things that I'm transitioning to do, coaching, those type of things. So my do list changed. So it doesn't mean that your do list have to exist forever. It's what that do list is important for your next 6 months of running your business. And if you want to do it more, great. You don't have to do it every 6 months. You could do it quarterly, but I suggest twice a year, because guess what happens, Stephen? You make a commitment, you do those things, and what happens over 2, 3 months is things start to creep back in. I've taught my team and my associates this phone thing here. Try to face down when you're in treatment mode and you're going one after the other patients, is put that face down. And you should never really sit down and have a break. But if you do, what can you focus on keeping your energy level up to go to the next treatment, whether it be listen to some music or meditate a little bit or kind of visualize what you want to see over the next half an hour. But picking this up and switching your brain to, I'm going to pay bills, I'm going to book my flights. That stuff should not exist. That should exist in a totally different block of time and probably beyond this podcast time. But outside of the office, you should have block times to do things, right? So
Yeah.
that also helps so that you're not bringing stuff to the office, right? So, example, this afternoon, I have a block of time between 2 and 4 o'clock where I'm going to be doing everything that I need to do to prep myself. So tomorrow when I'm back in the office, I don't have to do those things, book flights, pay bills, those type of things, right? So it's not just important to do that stuff in the office, it's important to do that stuff throughout your week so that you can free yourself up to monotask during the most important time in the clinic. The other thing I give example, I give surgeons. So surgeons are really good monotaskers, right? Because once they in, do you think they're checking their phone or paying bills or answering emails, right?
Yeah.
If you can imagine lying on the gurney and your surgeon, so just hang on, I'll be a second, and touching their phone and then re-scrubbing in, right? I'm sure there's better examples, but when that surgeon walks in, he's scrubbed in, there's nothing else that exists. The bomb could go off somewhere over there, and he or she is focused on doing the job at task. So that's what monotasking is. And I think you can apply it not just to seeing patients, you can apply that to anything throughout the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that was good. And another thing that I'm noticing just listening to you go through that is you're probably bringing a way better experience to the patients, like just by being there, yeah, like
Yes.
mentally. So imagine if you're checking out reels on Instagram 1 minute, the next minute you're seeing them, you're detached. But if you take that downtime to get prepared for the appointment and stuff, you're in a better frame of mind and you're bringing a better experience.
100%. It's called present time consciousness. Are you conscious in the moment of time when you walk into that room, or have you brought what you were thinking about 20 minutes ago? You just said, hey, I've read that 20 minutes to switch my brain, right? So, as much as we think we are great multitaskers, are you bringing into that next patient what you were thinking about, what you were doing? Is how good can you be at being in the moment with present time consciousness and eyeballing that patient and just going, I'm here the next 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm here to help you and to be with you. Patients notice that. It's the intangibles. We see some offices really thrive and some offices do okay and struggle. Is the docs that do this well tend to have a huge following, lots of maintenance patients, return patients, because people understand when someone's attentive to them or they're distracted off in another dimension. Absolutely, it's present time conscious. And remember, the whole topic when we started this was because docs are finding stress levels and fatigue levels. If you're doing this, you shouldn't be ending your day and you're not switching back and forth and back and forth. You're going to have more physical energy by the end of the day because you're not switching back and forth and you're not using up all that energy by switching tasks. So in the end, imagine leaving that office at 5 or 6 o'clock and going, okay, I can actually go for a jog or a bike ride, or I can pick my kids up from school and take them somewhere, right? Versus laying down and not being there for your loved ones. So this all has to do with not just be performing better at your office, but performing better as a human being.
Yeah, that's really good. Often people say, oh, like it's all about time. Like they want more time for this, they want more time for that. In recent years, I've actually made the switch myself too. Time isn't necessarily our most valuable asset. It's actually energy.
Yeah.
Because like I find myself, I have a lot of time, but the energy isn't there.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm switching on that too because I'd rather be energetic for 2 hours than have 8 hours to sit around and do who knows. So energy is a huge thing. Now, that's a complicated topic. We
Yeah.
can go on for hours on that. But this is one thing like mental energy, which can turn out to be lack of physical energy, but mental energy is huge. And if you're not switching back and forth, and if you're time blocking really well, so time blocking means like the cluster and block booking, which we talked about, but also I'm going to come to the office between 8 and 11, and that's it. I'm gonna solely exist there. And then from when I get home from 12 to 4, I'm going to put my entire energy and block time to do something else. That's what time blocking is. And I think it was the 5 a.m. Club, the book that I read, which I highly recommend people read, is get those tough things done first. The 5 a.m. Club. There's another Atomic Habits. It's another good book, but the 5 a.m. Club, I believe it's been a while since I read it, is you're getting all those things done first.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the most difficult thing? First of all, exercise. As you get older, it's tougher to do at the end of the day. So meditation, tougher to do as the day goes on and we fill our brain with other things. So those are 3 or 4 things that they recommend that you do right away is do some type of movement, some type of meditation, journaling, your affirmations or your prayer, you're thankful, whatever, and then get on with your day, right? So that tends to help with energy levels and then your time blocking, right? Because you're right, you could have the whole weekend and ton of time, but if your energy is spent, I've talked to docs,
Yeah.
they're wiped from Friday afternoon to Monday morning. What good is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the weekend to do nothing, but you're doing nothing. So energy is huge, and this might seem trivial what we're talking about, but in my over 7 years of consulting and coaching, this has been something huge. When offices and docs get this, it makes a massive difference for them. And the last thing I'll say is, and this is a hot topic, I know we're getting off topic, but time spent with a patient. Time spent with a patient. Most people think, I've been taught this, this is what I know, this is what I'm comfortable with. And this is all I know. It's a narrative that we talk about. And they use that time for a patient, and therefore they have no time to do anything else. Is I want you to think about if you're monotasking more and stop multitasking and put your focus in it, can you challenge to shrink that time down, get the same results because we don't want to sacrifice patient results, but can you try to shrink that time down through monotasking so that you can free up some time in the schedule to do other things, right? That's also something I want everyone to think about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah.
perfect. Just to touch on what you just said there, I see where monotasking can play a big role in that is
Yeah.
because if you're walking into the room and you don't have to get your mind into the room for the next 20 minutes, you can do what you need to do right away.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
There little things like last week's call was on the artificial intelligence, right? So that's going to help free up time for yourself and your staff. A better functioning website, systems and procedures is another thing, right? Switching back and forth, having to make a decision, for example, about someone's schedule every single time they come in, a patient's schedule. This is another one that, you're talking about multitasking. The person comes in, oh, I think we should see you Thursday. Okay, Thursday. And you keep doing that every day. You're having to make a decision throughout your whole day about when the patient has to come back next. Why not create a schedule, just like a personal trainer would, set out the schedule and book the schedule in so you don't have to make that decision every day.
Yeah.
That's where a system and procedure will come in and help you having to make less decisions. Systems and procedures around the office staff. When do they come into the room for an examination? Forms prepped, all that kind of stuff. They seem trivial, and I know a lot of people don't want to do it. I'm a clinician, I'm not a practice owner. However, if you set those things up, you can see the same amount of people in less time or more people in the same amount of time. It's better for your business and also better for your patients because you're able to serve more people. So things like systems and procedure, cluster and block booking, do, delegate, dump, those things are seem small, but they can make a massive difference to the success of your practice and your own personal energy store. I know we're hopping a little bit over our 15 kind of minute timeline, but I want you guys, whoever's listening to this, to try 1 or 2 of those things. Whenever you get off this call, jot some notes down and whatever rung true with you, whether it be the do, delegate, or dump, the block and cluster booking, whatever it is jot it down, share it with your office and put it into action. And I want you to watch how things change within the next 2, 3, or 4 weeks, and you'll notice a huge difference in your energy stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is good.
Uh,
And another thing too, we're going to be pushing this out on Skool. So if you're comfortable, just put it into the discussion what you're focusing on this week. And yeah, just to let other people see what they potentially could be doing as well.
That's a great idea. I'm about ready, and once I fully get into Skool. I'm ready to do my own do delegate or dump list. So I'll be sharing my insights and my thoughts once I go through that. Usually it's going to be coming up in the end of May/June. So I'd love the discussion to get rolling to see what people are doing in their own office with that. I love that. And I love especially getting rid of the stuff that I can dump. It makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's see you all active on Skool. Hopefully, you got something out of it. Thanks for joining us. And next week is live. I believe if you're listening to this between this and next week, podcast will be live. You'll have a chance to check in, ask questions, and next week topic we'll keep secret for now until we release things in an email. So have a great week. We'll see you everybody next week.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Angelo. Have a great week.